So my name is Munah. I'm from West Africa, Liberia. So my country went through 14 years of civil war back in 1999 to 2004. And we had to leave Liberia because there was just all the tragedy that was going on. So we gathered in group with my dad and my mom and a few of other neighbors walking to the Ivory Coast. And we walked for about a day, 24 hours. And when we walked, there was no food. The only thing that we had was a water of gallon, a little gallon that my dad would refill with water every time we stopped at a creek. When we got to the Ivory Coast, after we crossed the border and into the Ivory Coast, we got into the refugee camp and stuff in the Ivory Coast. And they supply us with pots. The United Nations supply us with some food and some pots and some blankets where family can be able to sleep for the few period of time they're going to be there, and then later on they start doing their own things. So after we were there for a little bit, there was no job, there was no food because the UN wasn't supplying food anymore and stuff. So my dad had to struggle, he had to look for work, and there was nothing my mom was doing at the time. So we just had to cope with that, and that's how we were living. My dad is the type of person who he doesn't pay attention to negativity. He always found a way. He always found positive into whatever that is negative. So my mom is the one who, you know, as a woman, it touched her a lot. And then my dad would say, Maria, don't worry about it. One day things will be fine. One day God is going to take us to somewhere greater than this and stuff. So just him encouraging her, and that's from him I already got my strength of faith from. We see God in all the time that he was protecting us when the border was flying, when the gun was shooting, and just he guiding us and leading us and taking us through those walk to the Ivory Coast where many family was dying and many people was losing their kids and losing their mothers, losing their brothers and sisters. You know, we just saw God as, you know, just that faith. That faith just came out of us that, you know, God is in this, God is with us. He will guide us, he will lead us, he will take us to the place that he wants us to be. With the deliverance that was coming was the Liberian refugee in the Ivory Coast coming to the United States and stuff. So many did not believe it. Many, you know, they didn't pay attention to it. But my dad always had the faith that this is not our destination. God is taking us somewhere bigger and he's taking us somewhere higher and stuff. So we kept onto that faith and we kept onto that belief. With the program, different churches sponsor different family. So based on where your sponsor is at, that's where you go. So luckily, our sponsor was the Lutheran Services of Des Moines, Iowa. And so we were able to come to Iowa because that's where our sponsor was at back in 2003. So after we got here by the Lutheran Services, we had a kids worker, and they help offer about 6 months. They're going to help you find a job and stuff, and they're going to give you some food stamp to be able to sustain yourself with food. And after 6 months of you getting a job, and then you just get to be on your own. We started going to a church called the Baptist Church, and God uses those people to be a blessing to my family. We didn't even know them and stuff. They would come over, bring clothes and stuff. They would take us to the Goodwill to go get some clothes, and they would bring dishes and come to the house to teach my mom how to bake and to teach her how to sew. And it was just a support system that was just around my whole family and stuff. And they walk us through things. One of the lady from church would come to drop my brother and I to school and stuff. And it was just unspeakable blessing, kind of like how I met the Rich family. My family, with the life that they have back home and knowing that they have family there, they always been a sponsorship to those family, helping that family back home and helping neighbors. So whenever they get paid, and so I would take my mom over to Western Union, and then we're going to send some money back home to support family and support their children, you know, to put food on the table for them and to help them with education. Because a lot of family, their children was not going to school, and mostly they don't even have the food to eat and stuff. So it was just a family thing for my parents at the time. So as I was getting older, being a teenager, and when you're a teenager, everything in your eyes is someone else and stuff. And my mom, she always remind me, Munah, don't forget that God brought us here for a reason. He didn't just bring us here to bring us here, but he brought us here for a reason. Water was one thing that they were struggling with. Water and food is one of the big things there and stuff. So I spoke to Katie about it, and she and her husband Ryan, they contributed to the pump that we have within the community, and that pump had been a blessing. That was our first project that we did, and that project had been a blessing. It had been supplying so many parents and so many kids. That way the kids are able to stay right there, get water, take it home, take a shower, get water to drink and everything. So the pump is very big, and you guys will be seeing it as well. And that pump has been a blessing. And the food, so when we started the mission and stuff, there was a donation from the church and a donation from one donor, and it came up to $1,200 that we had. Was saving that towards the building project, because the building was filling up and stuff, and all the roof was coming up. But within that process of doing that, the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, and at that time, it's food that people are needing most, than a building. So we took the funds towards feeding, and we started the feeding program, and we have been doing that, I think, for about three going to 4 months. And so we have been doing that. We invested the money into the feeding program. Right. So that's what's going on. That's what we have going on right now. I know how it feels to be alone. I know how it feels to have no clothes. I know how it feels to have no water. I know how it feels to not have a place to sleep. I know how it feels to just stay in the dark, for many days and stuff. And then, you have no lights, and then you just using a little candle or a little lantern, just to hold up and just carry around your house to be able to see, just to take a step to the bathroom. So in this time, I just want to talk to parents and talk to women and talk to anybody who is watching this video, to tell you to be strong, just keep your hope up and keep your faith up. Just be strong that God is going to be with you. God is with you. And once you believe in God, he will never let you down, and he will never let you fall. So as I know how it feels in this situation, I also know how it feels, how those parents, who are dealing with no food, no clothes, no water, who were dealing with those things, that we have come to help and start being a blessing to them and stuff. I know what they are going through, and that's why my passion for this mission is just beyond, beyond understanding, because it's God work. It's not my work, it's God work. So I just want you to be a blessing. Like we have the African saying that says, it takes one person to birth a child, but it takes the entire community to raise that child. Meaning that if you birth something, it takes everybody to bring it out, to be a blessing in the community. So I want you to please join me and put your hands around me for us to be a blessing to those people in Liberia.